Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Mustard Saves and I'm back with some more budget-friendly meals for you guys. I have honestly been falling really behind on my habit of meal prepping on Sundays. However, I did manage to get a few things made ahead of time that made making lunch or dinner a lot quicker. Starting with these peppers, I wanted to whip up some quick homemade pickled peppers. From a cost standpoint, I feel like making your own peppers costs about the same as buying a cheap jar from the grocery store. However, from a flavor standpoint, I love being able to customize the saltiness, the sweetness, the spiciness, their texture, and all of those other good things. So once I had a jar nice and full and packed with whatever peppers you want to put in here, I moved on to making my brine. I like to keep it pretty simple with just 1 cup each of water and vinegar, and then 1 tablespoon each of salt and sugar, and a few cloves of sliced garlic. If you decide to make these at home, please feel free to add any other herbs or spices that you have on hand. Heating up the brine helps to dissolve the salt and sugar, and if you had any other spices, it would help to speed up the steeping process. From here, I like to add my brine while it's still quite warm to soften the peppers a little bit, but you do not want to add super hot liquid to a glass jar or you may risk breaking it. Here's what my peppers look like the next day. I'd already eaten quite a few of them by the time I took this picture, but the peppers did shrink a little bit in the warm brine, and in total, I would say it took about 2 days in the fridge before the habaneros gave off their max amount of spiciness. And yes, these peppers do need to be kept in the fridge from the day you make them. Canning and food preservation is a whole science that I am not qualified to talk about, but Google has told me that these should last at least 2 months in the fridge as long as they stay inside the brine. But if you're like me and have zero self-control, they won't last nearly that long. On with the actual cooking. I saw a really good sale on pork shoulder at Kroger and picked up this big slab of meat for just around $9. And with today's grocery prices, if I can get anything from any category at close to or under $1 a pound, I'm going to choose that as a stock up price. For those of you who may have seen my May food pantry haul, I did pick up this shoulder about 2 weeks before I got that giant ham, and I probably wouldn't have gotten it if I'd known, but I have it now, so I gotta use it. I usually don't make a pork shoulder like this unless I'm having people over, so I've only ever put it in the slow cooker with a bottle of barbecue sauce and called it a day. But for only 2 people, this thing was gonna last us way longer. So I decided to try my hand at making a dry rub so that way I wasn't stuck with just the same sweet barbecuey meat to put in everything until we ran out of it. Like that would have just been too much barbecue for way too long. I'll be the first to admit that this was probably not a very universal concoction that I came up with, but if you could tell from the peppers earlier, I tend to make things spicy, and I think I went a little bit heavy-handed on the powdered peppers here, but I have no regrets. It was just a good learning experience. To actually get the rub to stick, we just used some mustard, and these darker, more aesthetic looking hands belong to my lovely assistant. We've been practicing his abilities to cook, and this seemed like as good a time as any for him to help out. I've actually been thinking about just handing him the camera one day and have him filming his own day of cooking just to see what he comes up with, so if you guys would be interested in seeing that, let me know. We didn't add any liquid to the crock pot, and after about 7-ish hours on low, we had ourselves a big ol' pot of shreddable meat and liquid gold. For the first day when it was fresh, we treated ourselves to some lovely pulled pork sandwiches, but after that it was back to stretching the meat with other low budget add-ons. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I have a bit of an addiction to noodles of all shapes and sizes, and what you don't know is in the behind the scenes, I eat ramen probably a minimum of 2 to 3 times a week. It's kind of a very convenient addiction whenever you're working on a budget like this, but if I made more money, I would honestly just spend it on higher quality ramen. So I used up all of the liquid from the crock pot to make ramen in this way that you're seeing me do it right now. And this was probably some of the best instant ramen we've ever had. And at this point, I don't know where the rest of my pork footage went, but I do have some pictures. Starting with this nice picture of some scrambled eggs with pork mixed in and biscuits from one morning when I had the time to make breakfast. And then this other picture of some of the pork served on top of rice and beans, which is really how we ended up eating the rest of the meat. Not only was it energy efficient to just make a big batch of the stuff, but Spanish rice and pinto beans has been my favorite comfort food since the passing of my grandmother. So it really wasn't a hard sell to have this for multiple days. And I know at some point we did make tacos out of it, but again, I don't know where that footage went. So wow, look at me. I'm such a professional YouTuber. I don't know why you guys put up with me. And to finish off this video, I wanted to share this cute little date night spread that I put together for my partner and I. One of his favorite things to eat is street style elote, and corn is finally coming into season, so I did my best at roasting them in the oven since we currently don't have a grill. And for the toppings, I also did my best with what I had, so I went with mayo, tahini, and Parmesan cheese. A more traditional style elote is served with a different type of chili powder and then with cojita cheese instead of Parmesan, but it still looks nice and pretty, so we had a good time eating that. And to get some more color in our diet, I sliced up some bell pepper and cucumber. And since we'd checked out some movies from the library, I had to fish out my last pickle to serve on the side with our popcorn. And that's everything I had to show y'all. I know this was a quick video compared to my others. I'm really sorry that I dropped the ball and lost like an entire clip of footage. Like, I don't know what happened there, but I hope this video was helpful in sharing some ways that you guys can get some more low budget meals made up to fill your refrigerator. And as always, if you have any questions or other recipes you'd like to share, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!